Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining AWS On Air for another AWS What's Next show. AWS What's Next allows you to dive deep on some of our latest launches, and today we will be talking about Amazon EC2 G4ad instances. I am Ana Cunha, developer advocate at AWS, and I'm joined here today by our guest Samantha Pham, Senior Product Manager for Amazon EC2. Welcome, Samantha. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So I'm personally really into video games and animations. So I'm excited to talk to you about these new instances for graphics in the cloud.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to be here and talk to you about them.
So can you give me an overview of the G4 instance family?
Yeah, so the G4 instance family is a part of our EC2 hardware accelerated compute instances. The G4 instances specifically are our most cost-effective and versatile GPU instances for things like machine learning, both on the inference and small-scale training side, and also graphics. Graphics use cases include things like remote graphics workstations, game streaming, and rendering.
So just last week, you've launched the G4ad instance type. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, so we launched the G4ad instance type, which is built to provide customers with the best price performance for graphics intensive applications. So those are those kinds of remote workstations and game streaming use cases I mentioned earlier. They're built using AMD Radeon Pro V520 GPUs and the AMD second generation EPYC processors.
So we like to say that at AWS, we work backwards from our customers' needs. So what exactly led us to launch the G4ad instances? Why are we doing it?
Yeah. So we've heard a lot of feedback from our graphics customers specifically that they love what we're doing with our GPU instances like G4DN, but they need better graphics performance out of the GPU at a lower cost than what we've offered so far, which is why we built this platform in G4AD. With these AMD GPUs and AMD CPUs, not only are we all able to improve on the graphics performance for customers, but we're also able to lower the cost. So now with these instances compared to G4DN, we can offer up to 45% better price performance for these graphics use cases.
Yeah, that seems like a huge improvement. And what type of applications exactly can benefit from the new G4ad instances?
Yeah, so applications include things like game streaming. So for those customers that are trying to build game streaming platforms that allow their customers to play games on any devices at any location. And then a second use case is remote virtual workstations. So especially for employees that have really graphics intensive workloads like creating animation or developing video games, those remote workstations work great on G4AD. And then lastly, rendering, whether it be like batch rendering jobs or rendering on the fly, G4AD is great for those as well.
Okay, so if I need like a really powerful graphics computer machine, I can just like provision one of those instances and work from there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And when exactly should customers use those instances?
So customers that are really looking to improve on price performance for graphics use cases, try to lower costs, will really love the G4AD instances for that. Especially if they're doing, graphics intensive workloads. Sometimes, we find that customers have use cases on G4DN where the graphics performance isn't quite there. And so with G4AD, when you can get up to about 40% better graphics performance, depending on the workload, it can help open up more possibilities.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, that's a great combination, both performance and cost savings. So, do you want to talk about specs? I know you have some slides to share with us.
Yeah, I can share the specs on a slide so that it's nice and easy to see. Let me pull those up.
Okay, I can see
Can
them.
you see them?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we have 3 different sizes that we're offering for G4AD, and they range coming with 1 to 4 GPUs to really give you that scaled power if you need to scale up to 4 GPUs. The smallest size here is the 4X large, which comes with 16 vCPUs and 64 gigabytes of memory. As you go up in size, you'll see that that ratio of CPU to memory stays the same. It's about 1-ish to 4. And then the biggest size we have here is the 16X large with 4 GPUs, 64 vCPUs, 256 gigabytes of memory, and 2.4 terabytes of storage.
Yeah, pretty impressive. What about the GPU specs?
Yeah, so for the GPU specs, we actually have the V520 GPUs from AMD, which have a peak engine clock of up to 1600 megahertz. And then they also come with 36 compute units. And the GPUs are built with AMD's new RDNA architecture, which is meant to bring you really high performance and high bandwidth from the GPU to the CPU and vice versa, so that you can really render your graphics at high speeds.
And in which cases should customers keep using the G4DN instances instead of the new G4A, G4, I'm sorry, G4AD instances?
Yeah, so the G4DN instances are still going to be our best instance for low-cost ML use cases. So for small scale training, they're going to be really great. And then also for like the lowest cost GPU-based ML inferencing, it's going to be great for that. For graphics use cases, G4DN is still going to be really great for those customers that have reliances on NVIDIA's software and libraries like CUDA and NVENC for encoding. So yeah, G4DN is going to be great for that. And then G4AD is going to be for those customers that really want to cost optimize those use cases on the graphics side.
Yeah, that makes sense. And can you give us some info about pricing?
Yeah, of course. For these instance sizes, we have pricing here. If you take a look at these prices, specifically the G4AD 4X large, that instance size has the same specs as the G4DN.4X large in terms of GPU, CPU, memory. And we actually offer for the Linux pricing, which you see there as like 86.7 cents per hour. That's actually over 25% lower than the G4DN price. And then for Windows, you see that additional price because we know for graphics customers, Windows is a really important part of their ecosystem. And so the pricing there on Windows is over 15% lower than G4DN.
Yeah, I mean, that's significant cost savings.
Mm-hmm.
What about some of our customers already using the G4AD instances? What are they saying?
Yeah, so we have a customer, Ubitus, who is already really excited about the G4AD instances. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Ubitus, they're a cloud gaming technology leader that builds platforms to provide a AAA gaming experience to customers on any device like smartphones, tablets, gaming consoles, smart TVs, etc., as long as they're connected to a broadband network. And so Wesley Kuo, their CEO of Ubitus, said that they use AWS to partner with 505 Games to bring Control Ultimate Edition to a highly popular portable gaming device. With the new EC2 G4ad instances, they have a lower cost structure, which will enable them to bring more games like Control Ultimate Edition to mobile users globally.
Yeah, pretty impressive. So I know you have a demo for us, and then we can show how other customers can use the new G4ad instances.
Right, yeah. And just to give a quick introduction to the demo, we actually had Kevin Ashman, a senior solutions architect here in our AWS Game Tech org, create a demo where he used Teradici and G4ad to make a remote workstation for content creation. While he used Teradici in his demo, customers can also use Nice DCV as a really high performance remote protocol at no additional cost with their EC2 instances. But with that intro, let me pull up the video. Okay, let me know once it's loaded and I can hit play.
It is. Go ahead.
Awesome.
All right, let's take a look at what we can do with these AMD instances. One of the things we wanted to showcase was being able to get into one of these instances as a virtual workstation. What you can find up on GitHub in our AWS samples is our content creation workstation, which lets you do just that. The content creation workstation uses CloudFormation and deploys one of these AMD G4 instances into your AWS account, where you can access and then get into that instance and do a whole ton of great things. In my situation, I'm a partner solutions architect with the AWS Game Tech team. And one of the things that our developers do is use game engines inside of these virtual workstations. So we'll take a look at that, but I'll show you what you need to do to get started. First, you can synchronize this GitHub repository. There's various parameters that you can review, and then you launch them from the command line parameter. Parameters include which instance type you want, but really a lot of the defaults work really well. You can deploy them into your own VPC, or you can create a new one. We're not going to step through that just for the sake of time, but let's go and take a look and jump into one of those instances. So here we are in this instance, and you can see that it's powered by the AMD Radeon Pro V520 GPU with the EPYC processors available to you. One thing to note about the content creation workstation is it utilizes a technology called Teradici, which is an AWS partner that offers a high resolution, low latency, really good, um, really good tool for virtual workstations. And what we're looking at right here is a statistics viewer that will let us know how it's working. Right now you can see the frames per second that we're getting. Let's take a look. It's at around 10, 15, 12 frames a second. And that's low because we're not doing much. But as you can see, as soon as I started interacting with the EC2 instances, the frames go up. And you would want that just to save bandwidth. Now, once you load up one of these content creation workstations, you can install any software you'd like. For me, what I wanted to showcase was Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is a powerful game engine toolset, and it really can leverage the GPU and the CPU power that these instances offer. I'm in what's called their shooter game sample, and I'm recording this video from the instance remotely. And on the instance, we're getting upwards of above 100 frames per second. And then now you can see as we were in that editor, the frame rate was high, and now it's dropping back down, of course, to save frame rates. And as we flick around inside this viewer, it basically on demand gives you the frame rates that you're going to need. And now it goes down to a baseline to help reduce the bandwidth that's consumed. So the content creation workstation really allows you to get in and utilize the power of these AMD G4 instance types and do a lot of great things. This example showcases the ability to use Unreal Engine. Once you have Unreal Engine installed in one of these AMD G4 instances, you can utilize a lot of other AWS resources because, of course, all the processing work is happening remotely. So that's one of the use cases that we wanted to cover. Another is the ability to use these instances to deploy content to viewers. So there's another sample up on AWS samples that allows you to deploy Unreal Engine content via pixel streaming. And what this solution does is it takes an Unreal Engine project zipped up in S3 and places that on one of these AMD G4 instances, and then lets you simply connect to it via a modern web browser. So it's a very minimal amount of steps you need to take to deploy this Unreal content into EC2 and make it available globally. So it utilizes CloudFormation. So we can go into a stack. I've already jumped into a stack here where I've pointed at it just to show you a bit of the parameters. It doesn't take very many. You name it, and then it runs on Windows Server. You set a password, or there's a default. You can use various instance types, including the G4DN or the G4A8 AD. And then you set a different key pair. You set your pixel streaming location as far as the bootstrap, which is just some configuration scripts that get executed. And then finally that zip file, right? That pixel streaming zip file that is the project that you've built. And once you add that, you hit next and you go through the build, you end up with a URL as an output. And in this case, it's just pointing to the EC2, and we can click to that instance, and then we can start to engage with that content. And again, this is running on the EC2 instance itself, streaming those pixels to whatever viewer is connecting to it via any modern web browser. So these are two different samples that we wanted to showcase you. This pixel streaming sample is out there available for you, as well as the content creation workstation for you to utilize these new AMD G4 instances. That's it for me. Thanks.
Yeah, that was really cool. I just want to let viewers on Twitch know that I've also shared both GitHub links used on the demo on the chat as well. Yeah. All right. So Samantha, in which regions can customers provision G4AD instances as of today?
Yeah. So last week we launched these G4AD instances in the US North Virginia region, US Oregon, and in the Europe Ireland region. So they're available in those 3 regions right now. And we definitely plan to extend these instances into other regions based on where our customers need them most going forward.
Yeah. All right. We're almost at time, but where can customers go to learn more about the new G4AD instances?
Yeah, so we'll drop this link in the chat, but if you go to the G4 product page, you'll see a lot of information about the G4AD instances. You can see all the instance specs that we shared before and the pricing as well. And then we also include on that page a getting started section, which will tell you about different options for launching instances either with AMIs that already have all the graphics drivers that you may need installed, or we also have documentation, links to our documentation, which kind of tells you how to install all the graphics drivers and set up, remote workstations with the G4AD instances.
Yeah, I might try them myself for my personal gaming.
Yeah, they're great for that, especially if you like to game on kind of a PC environment. It'll be really helpful for that.
Yeah, I know my personal laptop is not able to handle games very well, so I might give it a try.
Yeah, these GPUs are probably a bit more powerful than what you've got on your personal computer. So hopefully they do well for you.
All right, thank you so much, Samantha, for joining us today. Make sure to check out the new G4AD instances. That's it for us today, but I think we have another AWS What's Next show coming right up, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.